Hello and Merry Christmas from Pavis Pearls. I'm back as your hostess, Pava Lair, and ready to have another discussion with you. This is about thinking about the opposite from the last time about expectations. Last time we talked about the unexpected, and this time we're going to talk about things that we expect. All those things that can shape and change your life in either category. Those things that you least expect and yet have a large impact on your decisions was last time. This time we're talking about things that you expect. So what do you expect in your life? Those things that we have grown to expect. Things that getting up in the morning, just the very fact of waking up, something very simple. We expect kind and courteous service at a restaurant or a store or from a friend or relative. We expect our friends and families to always be there for us. We go to school and our expectations are very simple. But as we grow and get older, our expectations change. What do you expect in life? Independence? A job? A spouse? Freedom? What have you grown accustomed to? Basic things like food, clothing, shelter, because we live in a country that those are basic items. We make an assumption we should have or will always have those certain things and others. What happens when those expectations aren't what we thought they would be? Something simple, like waking up, and instead of getting up and getting ready for school or work, we don't, because we don't feel well and we're sick and we can't drag ourselves out of bed. That's something we expected to do, but it didn't happen. What about a drive-through taking much longer than you think it should, or the person in front of you having trouble speaking to the speaker? Have you ever expected a raise or even a praise for something you did and then nothing? Or worse, someone else got it. How do you respond? We have to stop a moment and work through those moments and those thoughts and those feelings. Are you patient? Are you understanding? Or do you get frustrated, maybe just a little bit, and maybe even honk your horn because you're in a hurry and the expectation that you had wasn't met? Are you quick to jump to a conclusion because you expected, a certain response, or you wanted something only to find out that you were wrong or didn't get what you wanted? That is an extremely different type of discussion, one that maybe we'll go into in the future about being wrong. But back to our topic. Those experiences can seem large and frustrating, but could really be mentally diffused if we stop for a moment and put a better attitude or perspective on what possibly could have been the explanation for it. Do they always work themselves out? Not always. Unfortunately, all we know they do is not work themselves out. Sometimes a very minor way, sometimes in a very major way. Do we end up hurting someone in many different ways, or do we feel justified when we do that? I am glad they are the minority of people who hurt us or do things and feel like they are justified in doing it. But how does it change us? What is your attitude? Are you frustrated, maybe even a little bit upset at the person or thing? Is waiting a few minutes longer in the drive-through really going to make a dramatic difference in your life that day? Maybe if you take a breath, take a moment to understand someone in front of you, maybe it would change getting upset. Are you upset over a waitress getting your order wrong or your food? What happens when you don't win or even win the argument, or when you don't get recognized at work, at school? What happens? What do you think? I believe we have all been there. Seeing someone with a kind bumper sticker swear or use unkind gestures out the window make us wonder why they would want to deviate from what they're portraying to us or what we think they believe. However, we are all human and have at some point let someone or something else influence us and think about what we really are. And it goes back to being an influencer from our first video. Who do you want to influence and how do you want to influence them? Some of our discussion comes from TV or videos, social medias, where they're showing something being done or giving something to someone, kind of like a reward for being kind. We can all relate to those topics and to the people that do things that are above and beyond. What does it depict about what would you do? What would you do? What do you expect from other people? What do you expect them to do? You may have seen these shows and maybe, like myself, wondered what would we do if we're presented with something completely out of context or out of thought or a mindset when you're in an everyday occurrence. Would you help that person? Would you give advice? Would you step in if they looked like they were in trouble? I'd like to think we would. I would like to think I'd step in, but would we? Would it seem appropriate or right? Would we give someone money for lunch or rescue them from an unseeming dire situation? Like the TV show ends with clips of those that did step in and an interview about why. Why did you do that? Because it seemed like the right thing to do, right? We all want to do what's right. I would like to hope we always want to try and do what's right, but do we? I grew up with an example from my parents. I remember vacations, young and old, where they'd stop to help a stranger broken down or didn't have something or lost something, and they felt that they needed to do that. That person needed their help at that moment. And the example of watching others and seeing what my parents and others do shapes us. So what is your example? What do you portray in your everyday life? Do you do those things? Questions that are important for who we are and who we surround ourselves with. Are we surrounded by the negative influencers or the positive ones? We all know of amazing examples of people who have given or even saved lives, even recently in the news, that stepped in to try and help. People in the military or even in everyday life that run into danger or a troubling situation instead of running away without, it seems, a thought, just trying to do what they felt was right to help someone else or to help the situation. Those stories are truly amazing, and we all love reading about them and seeing them because we hope we're like them. It's not just a movie. But yet, I believe it is a part of everyday life and about every one of us. The once faced with a small or large opportunity to prove what we believe and show our faith and hope to others, it does matter. We all do and would like to do the right thing. Maybe not always, but I think more often than we think. It's not easy, but it's eternally rewarding. Our values are what we expect of ourselves. Honesty, integrity, they're not just something we say. They were not always clear in every situation either. But I think if we stop and think about it, our actions won't falter. They'll make us not wonder or doubt about what we should do and what our expectations are, about caring for each other. It's more than a business dealing. It's more than busyness in our daily lives. It's a way of life. It starts with reminding ourselves about who we are. Who are we? And how do we want to spend our lives? Do we feel sorry for ourselves and fret every day, or are we grateful for the small and large gifts and the time we have right now? So who are you and who am I when no one's looking? Do we have the same value set as when others aren't watching? I'd like to think I do. And I like to think I believe that way. Those things are what's expected of us and what we expect of ourselves, even in an unexpected situation. So this Christmas season, do those things that we would expect of ourselves and others to create an unexpected, wonderful situation for someone else that might be in need. So Merry Christmas to all of you. Leave your stories below in the contact section. It's amazing to read each other's comments and to see what your expectations have been and what they are, because I know they're all out there.